coming back to Cadry ruins sure was an interesting experience. I used to actually grind this place quite a lot way back over a year ago, back when I thought that grinding elites and just hunting the elites here and the Gahaz bandits was something, you know, out of the ordinary, and it was really profitable. So coming back here for today for again the spot breaking for Cadrys, I followed the exact same rule, let's say, that I did back then. I tried to grind this place mainly for the elites. I went for the method of killing all 7 elites on one server, then switching to the next server and repeating the process over and over, and in between the waiting time, you know, after I killed the elites I had to wait, I would just kill normal monsters, and after, in this case, 8 hours, I made an Excel file like always and checked the money per hour values. So let's talk about Cadrys, because I feel like if anything else, this is probably the best spot in the game if you want to grind for Blackstones in particular, especially if you go for the elites. And let me share with you my experience with this place. Quite a long intro, probably didn't need to talk as much, but still. Let me begin as always with my gear so you can know where I'm coming from. I have way too much AP, I'm definitely one-shotting anything here with the exception of the elites, obviously. In terms of pets, I have 2 tier 4 pets, 3 tier 3 pets that might be important, but as you will see later, my trash per hour fluctuated quite a lot because of those elites. It depends how many of them I get to kill in 1 hour. Obviously some hours were better than others, and obviously in some hours I was switching the server and all the elites were dead, so I would spend the entire 15 minutes killing monsters alone. Now, for the rotation, there is only really one rotation you can use here. There isn't anything else you can pick realistically because we are focusing on elites. So starting from this place where you are leaving the horse, I assume this is the best place in my opinion to put the horse because it's right in the middle of the main monster rotation, and that's basically the only reason. Anyway, you start from here from the horse and you go all the way upstairs and you make your way through all of the 7 elite spawns. You will see all of them spawned because this time for once when I recorded the rotation they were all alive on this specific server. And once you do kill all of these 7 elites and you make your way all the way to the end of the place, you know, you go in a straight line all the way to the back end. Once you reach the 7th elite, the very last one, usually if I start the hour with the server not being in cooldown, then after the 7th elite I would immediately switch the server and proceed to kill another 7 elites the other way around. So basically from the last one going all the way back to the horse. If the server cooldown is not up, then you just simply kill monsters as many as you can and still make your way back to the horse. In between each elite location, you should ideally try to kill as many monsters as possible, just so you don't have dead time. You know, transitioning between one elite and the other, there's obviously going to be a lot of monster packs between those. So once you're done with the elites and you make your way back to the horse, then you proceed to follow what I would call the gatekeeper rotation, just because mainly the gatekeeper spawns in that big water area, and this is, in my opinion, the most optimal rotation for monsters alone. It's at least what I grind, and usually after I kill all the 7 elites, I by default come back here and proceed to do the rotation that you see playing in the background until my server cooldown is up. Once the server cooldown is up, I basically switch the servers and repeat the process over and over. Now, before I get into the Excel part to show you the actual profits, I would like to discuss a little bit about my 8 hours spent here, just so you can have a chance to look at the background screenshots and clips playing, so you can see for each individual hour exactly what I got in terms of drops, because they did fluctuate quite a lot. as I said earlier, depending on how many elites I killed. Throughout my 8 hours, I did a total of 3 guild quests on the 2nd hour, the 3rd hour, and then the 7th hour I stopped at the 3rd guild quest, and I finished that 3rd guild quest on the 8th hour because it was a longer guild quest. So for these 3 hours in particular where I had guild quests, I was pretty much forced to grind on one specific server, and in this case I was prioritizing monsters and not the elites. I tried to pick a couple of guild quests to see if it's worth it, because you do get some silver as a reward for doing the guild quests, and I also noticed that I still get a lot of weapon drops and enhanced weapon drops, which are quite important here, from the monsters alone. So I'm not sure exactly how important it is to do elites as a main grinding method, because the monsters alone seem to be pretty good themselves. So one way to get more income, I suppose, if you are interested in that, is to pick some guild quests for Cadrys, and you should get an easy extra 5 millions per hour if you do one of those guild quests when you can't grind here. Another important thing that I want to point out is that this is probably one of the worst spots in terms of inventory and weight limit management that I've seen. It's way worse than Schultz Guard that I tested recently, because here, after almost every single server, so after every 15 minutes or so, I literally have to kill a couple of monster packs, then proceed to throw away some weapons, or just simply sit in one place for like 1 or 2 minutes and throw away every single base weapon that I get, because those you will get a lot of weapons drops, and most of those are not going to be enhanced. I only kept the weapons that were enhanced, as in +1 to +15, because I always extracted those for Blackstones, but the normal weapons weigh quite a lot, and you do get a lot of those, especially from elites, and if you don't have a ton of inventory weight, in my case I believe I have around 1000 weight limit, and that's still quite a lot compared to what newer players have. Still, you will need to do this basically at least 3 to 4 times per hour, and it does get annoying, the fact that every 15 minutes you have to stop and to throw away like half of your inventory, which obviously takes time. And to make matters even worse, if any monster hits you while you're trying to move items to the trash bin, the item gets reset and basically your click gets cancelled. So you can't even throw away items while you're being attacked by monsters. You have to literally clear the packs around you, make sure nothing hits you, and then start throwing items into the trash bin. So it's not very convenient, that's what I'm trying to get to. Convenience wise, I would definitely say it's kind of the worst spot I've seen in recent times, at least in this series. So that's kind of my impression of this place. So by now all of the 8 hours in the background should be done playing. If you did pay attention to my inventory, you may have noticed the big fluctuations in Blackstones, and I should have pointed this out earlier. I believe every single dust, in terms of the dust you use to make Caphara stones, I think all of those come only from the elites, like the elites alone. So looking at the end of every hour, pretty much the dust that I had represents how many elites I killed in that 1 hour. Other than that, let's take a look at that Excel file and the conclusion for this video. So here's my breakdown in terms of trash and just what happened per each hour. Second hour had the first guild quest, third hour another guild quest. On the fourth hour I spent about 5 minutes soloing the gatekeeper because I was kind of bored and thought that why not, just try it out, see if it drops anything useful. So I think it wasn't really that huge of a waste of time. 5 minutes isn't a lot, and I did get at least a 2 million ingot plus some other items. So yeah, ideally you don't want to solo a gatekeeper, but I thought it would be, meh, I was bored. Hour 7, as I said, I started the third guild quest. Hour 8, I finished that guild quest, and then the individual trash per hour breakdown, which, as you can see, it fluctuated a lot. The slowest hour was 6000 trash per hour, probably the hour where I killed the most elites, since, you take time to kill the elites, which means you don't get the trash from monsters. And then the fastest hour, the 7th one, where I literally spent the entire hour on one server without switching at all for that 4000 monster guild quest, the large one. I literally spent the entire hour only killing monsters, which means that at most I should be able to get around 8000 trash per hour. The trash itself is really cheap here, including the silver I got from the guild quests and from the items from the poachers. Poachers do spawn here as well. I did get, for example, 2 of these backpacks for 10 million silver. So all of these items that represent silver and the ingots in total made me about 20 millions per hour average. By the way, these are the pictures with what I got from the 8 hours before and after selling the trash items. So 20 millions per hour only from trash and ingots and other trash items, which obviously isn't good at all. 20 millions is pretty low considering that I was using a normal loot scroll and a Kamasil blessing. Other than that, I got 1 setup necklace in total, which it's not good. I mean, I don't know what the real drop rate is. I believe I got this 1 setup from one of the elites, which again, maybe it's 1 in 10 hours drop rate, I don't know. The Cadry rings are quite frequent. You should get ideally at least 1 Cadry ring per hour, either as a drop from the elites or from the monsters, or just simply from combining the pieces. You will see a lot of these blue pieces from the rings. I combined a lot of them into the red pieces, and then occasionally you will get, if I can even find it, I guess I cannot find it. I believe I had 1 left over at some point, one of the thingies for the rings, but anyway, combining the pieces for the rings and from the drops, I got 9 in total, which again, maybe you should get 1 KD ring per hour. The scroll drop rate is pretty good at 9 scrolls per hour on average. Most of these I believe came from the monsters and not as much from the elites. Weirdly enough, the scroll drop rate from elites doesn't seem to be that good. The black magic crystals, only 1 of them drops here, only 1 type, the Valor one, and I got exactly 8, so basically 1 per hour. I believe in one of the hours I got 3 of them in just 1 hour, so it's definitely not 1 per hour drop rate, it's RNG, but that's the average. Other than that, most of the other items are kind of irrelevant. The Khafra stone drop rate is pretty bad, 2.5 per hour average. In most hours I hardly saw 1 or 2 of them at most, so it's not good. The dust, as I said earlier, I think the dust comes only from the elites, so on average you could say I killed 25 elites per hour, which if you think about it, on hours where I literally switch the servers every 15 minutes, that's at least 4 servers per hour, so that should be 7 times 4, that should be at least what, 30 something, math, 28 I guess elites per hour on average. Most of the times I would start hours because I did the grinding in 1 hour intervals, after which I would go to the city, empty my inventory, and usually just AFK for a while to take a break. So in most sessions I actually was able to switch 5 servers at once because I started the hour with the server not being in cooldown. And then obviously the most income, let's say about half of it, probably at least 50 millions per hour I would say, came from the Blackstones, which is the biggest drop you will see here. Like as I said in the beginning, this is probably the best spot in the game if you want to grind for Blackstones alone. I got about 200 Blackstones per hour average, so just imagine that's at least 40 to 50 millions per hour depending on the market prices. Currently the Blackstone prices are actually pretty high, especially the armor ones are sold out. So in total, on average from everything, I made 116 millions per hour, which is decent enough. It's literally comparable to most other spots I tested. In fact, it's about what I was expecting, around 100 millions per hour. If I compare this place to the previous ones tested on this series with the exact same buffs. It's literally about the same as Schultz Guard. It's close enough to SHEREKHAN Necropolis, to KAGTUMS in terms of income, about the same as Ronaros, Waragons, Manchaums, and you can see the other ones here yourself. The only one that isn't really that relevant is probably Proti Cave, where I got literally RNG carried with the drops, and this 116 millions here is probably way too high. In reality, this is probably like 60 or 70 millions per hour, but still. That's gonna be it. That's the conclusion for this video. I came back to Cadrys just purely out of curiosity because I felt like revisiting the idea of killing elites. I did this entire test on my Guardian just so I can keep the consistency for this series despite me actually wanting to grind on my season Kuno. So after this video it comes out, I think I'm just gonna finally take everything, you know, just retire my Guardian for a while and just go to mainly playing the Kuno, the season Kuno, unless after today's maintenance we get the rework for the Pirate Island or some other spot rework where I would have to go and test that one as well. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this, I will see you next time, and until then stay happy, enjoy the season character and stuff like that, and bye bye.